Hey everybody, LittleMoeGaming here. Happy Friday. Hope you've been having a great week. Hope you've been having a great Ramadan so far. If you are celebrating Ramadan, fasting every day, I've been loving it. I look forward to it every year. Talked a little more about it in my last video, but um, yeah, after you get used to the first few days of fasting, it really becomes normal and something that you get used to, and it just feels really good. So it's been great for me. I want to talk this week about a couple of different topics that popped up in the gaming industry. At least two topics that really caught my attention. And before I get into that, because I'm going to be going off on a few different things, I want to talk about the games that I'm playing right now. So last week, you watched me roll credits on Judgment. I absolutely loved that game. We'll probably put it in my games of the year video at the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how many games I'm actually able to finish, because it took me a while to finish Judgment, and I started playing Mortal Shell last week, which I'm going to be showing some footage here of my last session playing Mortal Shell. And I do mean that when I say it was my last session. Unfortunately, the game just wasn't for me. I absolutely love the Souls-like genre. Dark Souls 2 was probably the first. No, I did play a little bit of Dark Souls 1, and then I played Dark Souls 2. I played Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and so on. Of course, I played Elden Ring when that came out. Absolutely loved that game. The Souls-like genre is something that I really enjoy, and I have played a few other Souls-like games, so not necessarily from software. I've played The Surge. I've played Lords of the Fallen, not the most recent one, the original Lords of the Fallen that came out, and a few others like Neo and whatnot. And Mortal Shell really did start to grow on me after about an hour of actually sitting down and playing the game. In this footage, I'm fighting, I guess, what's the first boss fight in the game. And once I started to get used to the combat and the parry system, it was actually really satisfying. It's not as janky as I thought it was. I think it's just because it's a little bit more slow-paced and methodical. But once you get used to it, the combat's actually very satisfying. And the world building is great. It's the atmosphere, the music, everything is great about it. But I don't know, after I beat this first boss, I started to kind of get deeper into the game, and I think it's a little too intricate. Although I enjoy the difficulty of Souls-like games, and especially from Dark Souls, the difficulty in those games, it's pretty reasonable, right? I mean, it's just about getting good at the game. And it's the same here in Mortal Shell, but I think the systems are a little too intricate. They have this thing where you can't really see what an item does unless you use it, which I can appreciate the idea behind that. But you have to use it 10 times to get every detail about the item. And I don't know, maybe that's tied more to the item's lore and the storytelling part of it. But it just started to get a little too complicated. You can only heal if you parry, which is a cool mechanic. I do enjoy games that have the parry mechanic. Sekiro was fantastic, but I don't know, Mortal Shell was a little too complicated for me, to be completely honest. So I had to make that decision, that it's just not for me, and that's okay. That's something that I've come to terms with as I got older, is that there's going to be games that are on your backlog that you think you want to play and you're really looking forward to them, but then you play them and you realize, maybe this just isn't for me. It's not written in the stars, and that's okay. There's so many other Souls-like games. I haven't even finished the first Dark Souls game, and I recently picked up Dark Souls Remastered. I found it at GameStop for pretty cheap, and I was like, you know what? I do want to play this game. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up so I can put it in one day. Maybe I'll play it sometime soon. But I also thought to myself, you know what? I've been waiting to play Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I really want to get into it, so I'm going to get into it, and I finally did. I've been playing it. It's such a fun game. I'll be showing some footage as well of that, and I'm also going to show footage of that racing game I've been playing. What's it? Wipeout. I do jump on that from time to time. It's an absolute joy. And I'm actually going to talk a little more about that in my next video next week. But this week, what I really want to get into is a couple different things that were announced or shown this week. The first thing being Death Stranding 2. I'm a huge fan of Death Stranding. To go into a little bit of my experience with it, I've always loved the Metal Gear Solid games. I've talked about it in a couple of my videos of how much those games mean to me. And obviously, Hideo Kojima is masterful at what he does. In my opinion, I love the work he does. I appreciate the weirdness that he puts in his games, even though it can be a little too weird sometimes, especially in the case of Death Stranding. But I actually really enjoyed it. Death Stranding came out at a time in my life where I had a lot of uncertainty. A lot of uncertainty of the future, of what I was leading up to. Not to like go into any dramatic stuff or anything like that, but no, just, it was a time in my life where I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had just finished college, and, I had just finished college, and I didn't really have like a full-time job coming out of college. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was still staying with my family. So, I was trying to figure that out. I was just working odd jobs here and there. And this was also before the pandemic. So the pandemic wasn't really involved as much in this yet. But around the time that I played Death Stranding, it was not too long after I met my wife. I met my wife when I went to visit Turkey. And I met her there, and, we started talking and getting to know one another. But it was uncertain. We tried to, we wanted to start off by having a long distance relationship to really build up to, getting married and living together. Of course, that was going to be difficult. And, with me not knowing anything in my career, and then, of course, the pandemic after that, there was a lot of uncertainty. So I started to play Death Stranding, and, that game is all about, this is just one of the many themes that the game explores, but it's about loneliness, right? It's about loneliness and making connections and all that. And so the themes of the game really kind of resonated with me at the time. Not that I was like lonely per se, but it's just that feeling of uncertainty of like, the woman that I want to marry, she's really far away, and we don't know how long this process is going to be until we're able to actually be with each other. There's just a lot of things, including the immigration process. So I guess, just that feeling, but then also like, playing that game, listening to the music in it and being able to just chill and walk around these environments and explore this terrain with the tools that are provided. It was a unique gameplay experience. The story was great. And I remember like moments where I would be playing the game and I would just find myself in an area that was really peaceful in the game. I remember they had these like things that you can build. I haven't played it in a long time. I actually do want to replay it before the second game. But I remember there were these things that you could build that you can sit under to regain, like, I guess your health or something. I don't remember what it was, but it had like some rain that would come down underneath it and you can like recoup some energy. And I was just sitting under there chilling, and one of the background songs in the score, it had come on, and the music was so beautiful, and the scenery that I was looking at in the game was gorgeous. It was like amazing view, amazing vista. And I just sat there, kind of aimed the camera at this vista and like laid down on my couch and just kind of took it in. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like that's the amazing thing about games these days, is that they can be so realistic and so immersive that you can just enjoy a moment in the game where you take in the the soundtrack, take in the atmosphere and the environment that's being offered. And so, yeah, Death Stranding was an incredible game and experience for me, and it's a time in my life that's very nostalgic. And to see finally an actual trailer from Kojima showcasing Death Stranding 2, it's so great because Kojima's really good at making these trailers. I remember when Metal Gear Solid 5 was coming out, leading up to it, he had released like maybe 4 or 5 full-length trailers about like 5, 6, 7 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes, just showcasing footage from the game and being put together in this cinematic way, showcasing the music in the game and, just making you feel something. And I would rewatch those trailers over and over in anticipation for the game. And say what you will about Metal Gear Solid 5, it's one of my favorite games that I played at the time. It was really good to me. I enjoyed it. I do wish that the story was a little better, but that's another topic. But my point is, he puts together these really good trailers. And so to see a 10-minute trailer for Death Stranding 2, I was like, okay, this is going to be the trailer. Like, this is going to be the one that I'll probably end up rewatching like maybe 4 or 5 times before the game comes out in anticipation. And the fact that it was announced to release in June, I mean, that's so soon. We're in March now, almost mid-March. The Ides of March, right? We are in mid-March right now, leading up to April. I mean, April, May, June 26th. It's actually a week after my birthday, so very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I like the changes that I see. It looks like it's going to be leaning a little more towards the sticks side of things, rather than the rope. Whereas the first game was all about the rope, all about making connections, not so much about the violence or the action, but more so just, exploring the terrain. And I hope that it looks like there's going to be a lot of that here, a lot of beautiful vistas and exploration, but also a lot of combat. And the combat in Death Stranding was actually very satisfying and fun, and I enjoyed it. So to see it implemented a little more deeper, I think that's really exciting. And I'm looking forward to see what they've changed, what they've added, what's going to be new and unique to this game, and especially in the story. The story is so good. I know that they're making a movie for Death Stranding through A24. Really excited to see that, actually. I think that's going to be interesting. I'd love to see how they implement this crazy acid trip of a game into a movie format. But yeah, Death Stranding 2 finally coming out soon. And we have that new trailer. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go check it out. But on to my second topic for today. I want to talk a little bit about GTA 6. GTA 6, another massive game that we're going to be getting this year. Probably the biggest game of the year. The news that I heard about it, and this isn't something that's completely new, but there's more rumors coming out now that the game is probably going to be $100. Now, I don't know for sure if that means that the base game is going to be $100, or if this is like going to be like the digital deluxe edition, or the deluxe edition in general. But I think that's pretty crazy. I mean, I'm a guy who collects physical games. I don't really like to buy my games digitally. And part of the reason for that is because ever since this new generation started with the PS5 and Xbox Series X, most AAA games have been releasing at $70. They went up from 60 to 70. And there's definitely some games that I bought at that price tag, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you have to, and especially if it's a new game that you're really hyped to play and you don't want to wait for a sale. I mean, you're going to pay that price tag, right? But honestly, out of all the games that I bought this generation, I bought a lot. I've only paid full price for maybe like 5 games. And I bought a lot more than 5 games for the PS5 so far. Even for the Nintendo Switch. Like, I don't really pay full price because honestly, if you buy games physically, it's so easy to find them on sale. You can find them on sale on Amazon, Best Buy, Target and Walmart, GameStop even, although GameStop not as much, but you can buy them used, I guess. But yeah, it's really easy to find AAA games for a lot cheaper than $70. So to hear that a game like GTA 6, right, that we're all really hyped for, is going to possibly release at $100, I don't know. That's kind of crazy to me. I mean, I personally probably wouldn't buy it if it was $100. Although I'm saying that right now, but the gamer in me, the hype, gamer who, I mean, I love GTA 5, right? GTA 5 was an incredible game, and GTA 6 is just going to be even better. I mean, look at Red Dead Redemption 2 and the jump that was. Just imagine the jump from GTA 5 to GTA 6 after all this time. A lot of people were saying that the PS5 Pro was like a GTA 6 machine, and I did get the PS5 Pro, so that's also another thing, right? Like, do I want to play this game when it comes out in the midst of the hype? Am I willing to wait maybe a few weeks to a couple months for it to get on a sale and get a little cheaper? I don't know. Only time will tell. I have a ton of games on my backlog that I intend to play this year, so it just depends on where I'm at when GTA 6 comes out, on whether I'd be willing to drop $100 on the game or wait for a sale, because I almost think inevitably, either a few weeks out or at least a couple months, you'll be able to find the game for $70, which it sounds insane because it's like the standard game right now is $70. So to say that it's on sale for $70, but that's only if it actually is $100 for the base game, right? I mean, I kind of doubt that that's going to be the case, but this is what the rumor mill is saying. So who knows? I mean, it could be. At the end of the day, it's GTA 6, and I'm hyped for it either way. Although I do hope that there's a way to get the game for a lot cheaper than $100, because especially with a company like Rockstar, I mean, the amount of money that they've made on GTA 5, I think Rockstar is one of the few companies that could shadow drop GTA 6 tomorrow if they wanted to. And within the span of a week or two, they would probably be close to breaking even on the developing costs. I don't know. Maybe that's a shot in the dark here. If I don't know how much it costs to make GTA 6, and maybe it's impossible for that to happen. I don't know, but it wouldn't take that long for them to sell 1 million copies. And I don't know how many copies it would take for them to break even or to turn a profit. But if they can, I mean, they can sell, like, they're the one company, and there's other companies too, but like they're like one of the few companies that could literally shadow drop GTA 6 tomorrow and sell 1 million copies maybe in the first week, because everybody wants to play GTA 6. Like, GTA is one of those games that is a pop culture icon. Literally everybody wants to play that game. Like, whether you are a hardcore gamer who plays games as obscure as Kingdom Come Deliverance, or maybe you just play Call of Duty or Marvel Rivals every week, right? Like, you just play like a multiplayer game that you focus on. You don't really play a lot of single player games. No matter what kind of gamer you are, GTA is a game that you're going to play. People who don't play video games are going to go buy consoles to be able to play Grand Theft Auto 6. That's how powerful the Rockstar name is and the GTA name is. So it's kind of crazy to think that they imagine that they need to price it at $100, unless they just want to make the most money that they can, because they know they can. I mean, if they do price it at $100, people are going to buy the game. It's GTA 6. People are going to buy it. But I honestly think they could price it at $70, which is the standard right now, and they make well over what they're expecting to make, because everybody's going to buy this game, man. I mean, it's not a game that's not going to hit numbers. Like Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, those are also very hype games that have big fan bases, that when they came out, Square Enix came out and said that they were disappointed in the numbers. They didn't hit their sales goals that they were expecting. But that's Final Fantasy. Definitely huge fan bases, but it's understandable that they wouldn't maybe hit whatever their expectation was, because it's a JRPG at the end of the day. It's a long RPG, and there's a lot of options right now. It's not like it's the only one on the market, but GTA is GTA, and I promise you, it's going to bring people who don't normally game to buy a console just to play this game. So, anyways, that being said, I just wanted to come out here and talk about Death Stranding and my thoughts on it, my excitement for it, as well as my thoughts on GTA's price tag. What do you think about GTA 6 potentially being $100? And then what did you think about Death Stranding 1? Are you excited for Death Stranding 2? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Like the video and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And as always, take care.